Thank you for tuning in for another episode of your review channel. This is a series of videos that I've done over the years. As a videographer for 35 years, and I have a ton of content that I've been looking over and going over with you and how I've shot videos in different events. This video is about dance school, dance recitals. If you've ever done a dance recital, if you want to get into doing dance recitals, I'll show you a little bit of my work, what I do and how I did it. Maybe that can help you out. That's what it's all about. Take a look at everything else on my channel. I have tons of videos of weddings and bar mitzvahs and all kinds of indoor, outdoor weddings, everything. But before we get into the video, I really would appreciate it if you could like, share, and subscribe to this video. It does help me out quite a bit, as you all know, and I do appreciate that. So let's get into the video and let's see what we have and take a look at it together. Okay, so let's get into the video. So, like I said in the intro, I've been in business for 35 years, been retired a while now, but I have a ton of footage that I want to share with you and just show you my technique, how I shot things. I have an equipment list below. You can see the type of equipment that I did use back in the day. It wasn't that long ago. I retired around 5 years ago. So this video is actually from 2016. It's actually 4 years ago. So this is probably the most recent one, if you want to call it that. So just give you an idea of everybody does their own thing. People do multi-camera shoots. People do all types of technique. But the really main thing, the pet peeve for me was really not, because the stages are so blown out with light, you really have to control your iris in your camera. So you gotta have like zero gain, you gotta control the iris, you gotta take everything way down because the lights are just so much, they call them hot spots, so it's really like a hot spot. So you see a lot of people that see people's videos, home videos and all, and they're videotaping their kids' recital, and it's just all white and washed out, and there's no detail at all, and it's just a mess. And that's because of the light. The light just blows out the image totally. The sensors just can't handle it. You really got to crank down the iris. You really got to shut off the gain, and you just got to really work within the lights that you have and work in that environment. And that's how I did it. So this is basically a very long video, but I'll just try to keep it as short as possible so you can get an idea of what I did and how I did it. I did many dance schools over the years, and typically I learned that tripod you need. I try to wire in the audio if I can. If not, I use a shotgun microphone. It actually does very well. It's so loud, and I don't know if you've ever done a dance recital, but they're extremely loud, and you have to take the gain out on the audio as well. There's a lot of work to do in the back end when you do these recitals. But the key thing is really being in the back, being in the center, try to get the height. And that's kind of like the key, to get everything. Make sure you have enough battery power. If you need it, or if you can plug into AC, you're better off. A lot of these recitals are 2 to 3 hours long, sometimes even longer, multiple shows. I used to burn all my own DVDs. I used to copy and encrypt them. I used to make my own discs. I used to print them all. So I did the whole production from beginning to end. And most of these jobs were all one camera shoot. And it seems to be really, because the point of interest is center stage. So you can get some close-ups, and you'll see how I panned in and pulled out, and that's typical of how I shot my dance school, so you can get an idea. So let's just get to the beginning of this, and you can just see. Okay, so I was just typically started out with 2016. Okay, you can see that. So as you can see, so we have the audio in the background. I want to keep the audio kind of low. I don't want this to get dinged, but I want you to get the idea and how the audio sounded, and also how the shot was set. So as you can see, we always started the shot with a wide shot. Okay, you always had a full stage when the kids come on the stage. So typically, and you can see the adults in the background here, but you get the iris down quite a bit, the gain down, so you don't see, it's not too bad. But at least you want to do is you want to get option all the kids here, and you can see it. You still can see some hot spots. If you look to the left, the girl to the left over here, you can see she's kind of hot, and the girl to the right. That's just the way they do the lighting. You really can't control everything. It's almost impossible. If you kind of calculate for the hottest spot, the dark will be too dark. And it's just the way it is. So you try to get that happy medium so you get the right balance of color and the contrast. And that's really what it comes down to. So you can see how this is working. And this is not bad. This is actually a good, I think this is good, especially reds, dealing with a lot of reds, So it's kind of tough to deal with the reds, and so but this is really, I thought this video came out really nice and clean, sharp, shot in HD, shot in I think it had 64 gig media at that time. In the audio, I believe this was on a shotgun microphone. They did not have a way to line in to the person running the music, and it was kind of difficult to deal with, I'm sure. So there's a lot of kids, a lot of little kids, but you can get an idea. You can still see that hot spot right there. So that's just the way it is. Unfortunately, that's just how it goes. But you can see here when I did get a close-up, and so when the kids got tight together, I would always get closer. So what happens, so as they got closer together, I would move into them. So it's constantly being on top of what's happening here. So this is a nice shot of all the kids, and you can see it's clear, it's crisp, it's all well balanced and all well framed. Okay, this is not a movie. This is basically point and shoot video production, but to keep everything centered and keep everything as they unfold. So this is really dark, right? So you can see how dark this is. So you got to crank up they open up the iris. That's always constantly controlling. And I shot everything with autofocus. No automatic focus. Too much going on with that. To be too much. So automatic focus was fine with the camera I was using. It was excellent camera. So you can see the quality of that. Then I'll turn up the audio. The lighting would go up a little bit. So you can see single shot. Okay, follow them around. So you get some good angles here. You can see everything unfolding really easy. Again, another single. They do a lot of solos this school. Okay, so this is all black. You can see really, really dark, but you can see her kind of popping out of the screen. So I think this is a really I think it looks really good, right? Any comments or questions, leave below. If you have any questions on anything at all, leave below. I'll be glad to help you. Anything of your production needs at all. If you're shooting in attendant dance schools, if you're nervous about it, don't be. They're probably the easiest things you can do, better than a wedding. I mean, if you shot a wedding, it's nerve-wracking, These kids, it's easy to shoot. It's pretty well balanced and pretty organized. As long as you have a good camera and you have backup with you all the time, you should have no problem. Here's another shot again. So they do a lot of solos again in the school. So you can see they go off stage and you just back up and then I just open up right to the next one. And I would do chapters with these as well. So I would create the DVDs and create chapters, and everyone would have a chapter. So you can see the single ones are actually really easy to shoot. It's really the large groups are really, really tough. Okay, so we have a lot of little kids. Let's go that. Let's go down here. Little kids singing. So this is where it really tells that you can really tell that it's not plugged in the audio, because you can really kind of hear it's like it's from a distance, so you can pick that up. But that's just the way it is. But you can see the color is super balanced in this camera. This is a great camera. I'll leave the description below on the camera that I use. It's a great Canon camera. This is great for this kind of footage. 3-chip broadcast quality camera, all high definition. This was not 4K. This is all high definition. You can see it looks really good. Okay, so let's get to another segment, another shot here. So there's a larger group of kids with all the backdrops and back, so you want to really capture everything. You want to get the backdrops, you want to get everything. You want to kind of tell the story of what they're doing. And of course, don't be afraid to zoom in and zoom out. That's what it is. Okay, if you don't have multiple cameras, this is the way you have to do it. There are no options. But you can get, as you can see, you can get close. You can get all the close-up of all the kids. You can see everything really clearly. Here's a little older group. So you can just see how that's working out. Again, it's very well balanced. You can see it's great lighting. It's nice quality. So not to be afraid, but bring 2 cameras with you. Always have a backup. Make sure you have enough power. Make sure you have everything balanced correctly. If you can plug into a main line, make sure you have the main line correctly hooked up to the camera. You don't want to overmodulate that. You don't want to blow that out. You want to make sure that's correct. This recital is like 3 hours long, so I won't show the whole, but I'll just give you some ideas. So here's another one. It's a little bit faster. Again, well balanced, well lit. Hotspots are a little bit better controlled, a little right to right and left. Again, that's just the way the lighting was. I couldn't control it. As much as you talk to them, it doesn't matter. And again, stage is the basic stage. The black background, and you can see, when you have that black background, the images just really kind of pop right out of the image. Is really nice and clean. Even the large group, you can almost make out almost everyone's face, and that's kind of what parents are looking for when you're shooting these recitals. They want to be able to see their kid. So you really shouldn't focus on one particular child. You should really focus on the group always. If there's 3 or 4, you can always see that there's really no single focusing on one group. You'd be panning back and forth. It'd be horrible. So you can't do that. So here's another one here. Let's see what we got here. Again, more singles. There's a large group there. Let's go over here. This is the group with the 2 kids. So there's another large group here. Again, with some background. You got some cool lighting in the background. You can see everything's still well balanced. The cameras can handle this really well. When you can control everything, it's really easy to do. So don't be afraid about getting involved in shooting any type of recitals, dance recitals. You want to start out with some small plays, whatever you want to do. It's just like you can see, it's really nice and easy. Look at this one here. This is of course all the theater, Wicked, Hairspray, all that. They're just doing a whole theme shot here with this one. But when I have single kids, when I have single people, I always focus on singles, as you can see. So if it's by themselves, I don't keep it too wide. I keep it well balanced right in the center. Okay, that way if they move, pop left or right, because you're not really sure what's going on, you can kind of lead to the left, lead to the right, or basically pan left, pan right, and you can just follow the child or the person who's doing it. But when you have the large groups, you can see I do have to stay kind of wide. You can just see it. You have to kind of stay wide, and they just, as you see, and you get used to it. You know they're gonna go left, you know they're gonna go right, how they're gonna flow. So you don't want to get too close. You don't want to cut anybody out. So you don't want to zoom in too tight. You just really want to keep it well balanced, and you just zoom out, and you can just zoom in. Okay, and you just keep following that lead. And let's get here. Let's take a look at what we have here. It's a single. So you can't hear the tap. So sometimes I would wire the stage with a second microphone for the tapping. But this one here, we did not do that. But sometimes you can do that. So that's another trick you can do. Another thing I've learned, you know, because if they have a lot of tap, a lot of jazz, a lot of tap, that you just set up a wireless microphone right underneath that, lapel microphone on the bottom of the stage, underneath it, and tape it down, and that'll pick up all that extra tapping sound and everything. It's really kind of a cool trick that I've done in the past. All right, so let's get over here. So I hope I'm not boring you. I hope you have any questions or comments. Please let me know. To the end, which is all the kids hugging and saying goodbye, and that's usually how it typically would end. The teachers would come out and they would talk, and there'd be like a grand finale. Did they do a grand finale in this one here? I don't think so. No, they just came out and just did that. I think that was how they ended their video, and that's pretty much it. So that's pretty much how I would shoot a dance school, dance recital, anything like this. That's point and shoot. Graduations I've done funerals, anything that's looking back. They're anchored and you don't walk around. You can really just check everything and just see how it's gonna roll. So again, I hope you got some insight a little bit about how to do this and get some information about what I did and how I did things, and hope you saw something, you learned something. You can see not to be afraid. You can just see how everything it's well balanced. It's just take your time and set up the lighting correctly, set up the camera correctly, and you can get a great video. You know what I mean? You get all the footage. Don't be afraid. This is like, you can see here the timestamp 2:24. This is a long video, long recital. Some of these recitals are really long, so be prepared. And also another thing on pricing. How do you price recitals? What do you do, right? I've had everything. People offer me, come out. I would charge them to come out, or I would just charge them by the student, or I would charge them by the disc. I would sell. So as you become more familiar with the school, I've done all different things. The average price is like $35 a DVD. That's what I would charge. And if you had 100 students, and you do the math, it's not so bad, right? So you're there for a day, and it's not too shabby. If it's a small school with 10 or 12, you have to charge a minimum. So you can charge $1,200, $1,000, whatever your market is. Everybody's market's different. Your experience levels are different. Whatever you did. So typically, I would shoot maybe 8 or 10 schools a year, maybe 15, depending on. Sometimes I drop a couple. Some would leave. Some would come on. So that's kind of the rule of thumb. So it's all your labor, all your time. I used to make my own discs. I did use some copyright protection because people would copy them, of course, and then they would get frustrated and say to me, I can't, it wouldn't work. I said, well, something's wrong. You have to buy another one. And, so that's how that would work. But that's how I did it. But you can do whatever you want. It's just my opinion. Those are just my experiences. I hope it gave you some insight, a little bit about not to be afraid to do it. That's really what it's about. Me to just give you some confidence. So if you have any other questions, any comments, anything you like, any help you need, shoot me an email, shoot me a comment. I hope you like the video. Give me a like if you like this video. Please subscribe if you want to see more content like this, okay? I'll be glad to help you. That's what I'm here for. Hey, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. You have a great day, and make it a good one.